you, viewers, for tuning in to ZBC TV. You are watching Agricultural Parastatals Watch, Agribusiness, and I am Wadzanai Manyore. So this way we are taking a look into the 11 parastatals which fall under the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Water and Rural Resettlement. Now, in episodes prior to this one, I was joined by the Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Andrew Shoniwa, the CEO of the Pig Industry Board, located here at Agribusines Research Center here in Zimbabwe. And in this particular episode, we are going to be taking a different direction. We are going to be focusing at the activities and the various activities that one farmer has to engage in order to be successful in his piggery entity. I am joined by the Deputy Director, Mrs. Takayendesa, here at Agribusines Research Center. Ms. Takayendesa, thank you for joining us today.
Hello, Wadzi. Thank you. Hello, viewers.
Like I have alluded to earlier, last week we were just taking an overview of the Pig Industry Board. Now we are going to be looking at the activities, at the operations, the operational side of the pig industry board. Now, Mr. Takayendesa, as we get into this episode, can we maybe talk about a background, a brief background? Give us a brief background of the piggery project, what it entails, how did it start, how can a farmer start?
Pig industry, like any other business, it's a business venture where proper planning is critical. So before a farmer starts, there is need to have the passion for that business. And we recommend that before farmers venture into pig production, they get information from the Pig Industry Board. There are some prerequisites into pig production, whereby a farmer needs to plan firstly on the capital outlay. There is a capital investment because one will be looking at constructing the infrastructure, buying the breeding stock, feed, which accounts for about 80%, at least 80% of the total production costs, and the farmer needs to have knowledge. So that is very critical. Before one really goes into the business, you need to look at the amount of scale or the scale you will be doing the business at. One can start with a small head, say about 5, 10, 15 or 50. Okay. We have farmers who come wanting to start with about 100 sows, but after discussions, they find that the money they have, maybe they can only start with about 10 sows. Okay. So at least that farmer has sought knowledge before actually making errors. So planning is critical. Capital, we discuss, we have some budgets which we can run depending on the scale of production one wants to venture into. Then on the housing, there are different types of houses depending on the class of pig one will be dealing with. Okay. We have housing for breeding stock. We have housing where the sows will give birth in, which we call the farrowing house, or the maternity ward if it were people. Then we also have winner pens or nurseries, where after weaning, the piglets will be brought to, and they will stay there up until they are about 2 months of age. Okay. And we have the fattening place. Okay,
Mr. Takayendesa, you mentioned that you have various classes of where a farmer can start off from.
Yes.
I understand that most of the farmers who are into piggery or in the pig industry production systems are small scale farmers, are smallholder farmers. Which class is suitable for them? Some you might see in the long run, some may be being over ambitious. Which is suitable for smallholder farmers, given that there are those that are, that constitute the biggest percentage of pig producers in Zimbabwe? Which class is suitable for them?
Right, thanks, Wadzi, on that. We have smallholder farmers, and it's a range of farmers. Some might want to start with 3 breeding females, 5 breeding females. So that's the essence of coming in, sitting down with our extension guys, and they are told as to what it exactly entails to go into a particular unit size. Okay. Say for 10 sows, we have a basic plan of housing, which you call multi-purpose house, okay, whereby one you would need to construct about 17 compartments and each compartment from our budgets, it costs about 450 US dollars per compartment.
Okay.
So the farmer now will be seeing as to how much you would want to invest in the housing. So that can already be a guideline.
Okay.
If they would want to start, say, with 5 breeding females, they will build about 9 compartments of that design. So it's not a one-size-fits-all venture. It all depends on the amount of capital one would need to put in.
Okay.
Then we also have monies. One would require money for purchasing the breeding stock. And like if one is starting with a very small unit, say about 3, still you need a boar for production. That is
Okay.
the male pig. But now we have that technology of artificial insemination, because it's not economic for one to be having a boar with only few females.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's a cost, because boars are a fixed cost. Whether there is production or not, you
They are
need to be
fixed cost.
feeding that animal.
Okay.
So that way, if someone is starting with a small unit, we recommend that technology of artificial insemination. But one needs to be trained in order to be able to do that activity.
Okay.
So we also run those courses here on the ground, so that in the end they appreciate as to how it's exactly done, and it's a cheaper way of breeding. So it's like the smallholder farmers, they can also reduce their costs by practicing that artificial insemination. But
Okay.
say capital is not really limiting. Normally we recommend a farmer to start with about 15 sows, where you will be utilizing now the boar optimally, because the boar to sow ratio, it's 1 to 15.
Okay.
1 male to 15
15
females.
females.
But those females, they are not bred at once. They will be coming on heat at different stages.
Okay.
Yes.
And
so
all of
it-
that for a farmer to be able to notice that this sow or this female is on heat, you need training.
Yes.
Which is where you come in. Which is
Exactly.
why you are very essential in terms of the piggery industry. Now, viewers, we have come to the end of our first segment. We'll be right back with this and more after the short commercial break. Stay tuned. Welcome back, viewers. We are in the second segment of your program, where I am joined by Mr. Kayandesa, the Deputy Director, Technical Services at the Pig Industry Board right here in Zimbabwe. Now, viewers, we encourage you to be a part of these conversations. Feel free to get in touch with me, the producer, Wadzanai Manyore, on 0772 807 506. Alternatively, you can like our Facebook page, Agribusiness with Wadzanai. You can also leave your comments and suggestions on our YouTube channel, Agribusiness with Wadzanai. Like us and follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle there is at agribusiness110. Now I encourage you farmers to gather, our female farmers to gather on this in this particular time, so that you can hear from our Deputy Director. She is taking us through the operations, the activities of the pig industry, and how you can capitalize on your enterprise so that you can make a livelihood out of this. I understand there are a lot of female farmers, a lot of women out there who also want to make a living, an honest living out of themselves without being heavily dependent on our male figures in the society. I encourage you to gather around, take notes, take what you can, and leave the rest. Now, Mr. Kayandesa, we are in the second segment of our program. Earlier on, we were talking of how to optimize where you have one male servicing 15 females. Now, in this segment, I want us to talk about the breeds and the breeding process, so that our farmers out there, like I have alluded to earlier, I want everyone to gather and take notes, because this is a very lucrative venture. It is very profitable. People can take care of their families. They can, be less dependent on others. So let us talk about the breeds and the breeding activities.
Okay, thank you. Firstly, I can say pig production, it's a game of numbers.
Okay.
And efficiency is key. Because we talk on sow productivity. Sow is the breeding female. So sow productivity, I can detail it as the number of pigs sold per sow per year. So that way, one would know whether they are doing it the right way or something is not right on their production. There are 3 key parameters which we consider on sow productivity. Firstly is the number born alive per sow per year.
Okay.
Total number of pigs born alive. Some pigs can be born dead, which we term stillborns. There are also pigs which are born as mummified.
What do you mean when you say mummified?
Mummified, they died earlier on during the pregnancy period,
Okay.
which technically we say gestation period.
Okay.
But they will just be born when the pig is due to farrow or to
Okay.
give birth.
Okay.
But those numbers, like the stillborns and mummies, it's actually a loss from the word go.
Okay.
Because those were potential piglets, but they couldn't make it alive.
Okay. On that, how can a farmer out there avoid these mummified birds or stillbirds? How can one look out for those?
Okay. Firstly, it's part of training.
Okay.
There is a disease which is called CMED. It's an abbreviation which stands for stillbirth, mummification, embryonic death, and infertility.
Okay.
So that disease causes the stillborns, the mummies, and also small litters, because embryonic deaths means some of the potential piglets died when they were still in the
Embryos.
embryonic form. Yes.
Okay.
And also it can cause infertility.
Okay.
Whereby that will limit the number of births you can have per year.
Okay.
If your pig is infertile. So there is a vaccine which should be given to the breeding stock prior to breeding,
Okay.
which is called Farosure or parvovirus vaccine,
Okay.
which is sold from these 5 vet companies or vet distributors.
Okay.
Yes. So it's a vaccine which you need to give to your pig before you actually breed it. And following instructions is critical. So it's part of training which we conduct, that Farosure vaccine administration, the stock people will learn about it and its importance.
Okay.
So number born alive is key, and the average litter size which we recommend should be 10 to 12 piglets born alive per liter.
Okay.
If it farrows more than that, 14, 15, that will be good. And here we have had a case where we got 22 piglets
Okay.
born alive.
Okay. What usually causes that for a sow to be that productive?
Right.
Is it feed? What is it?
It's a combination of a lot of things.
Okay.
Firstly, it can be an element of genetics, which is the breeds.
Okay.
Like here in Zimbabwe, we have got exotic breeds, namely landrace and large whites. They are known for their prolificacy.
Okay.
That is, they are able, provided the environment is conducive, they are able to give good or high litter sizes.
Okay. Now, in terms of the lifespan of the sow, how many piglets can it produce through its lifespan? And when can you tell that this sow is probably now redundant,
Old,
it's no
old.
longer productive, it's
Okay.
old? In a lifespan of a sow, how many piglets can it give a farmer?
Okay. We recommend that you dispose of your sows when they have given birth for about 7 to 8 liters.
Okay.
Yes.
Which is
per year,
approximately
3 years.
Okay.
3-4 years of production.
Okay.
Because per year it can give birth on average 2 times a year.
Okay.
If you are into business and your pig fails to give birth 2 times a year, then you won't make money with pigs.
Which is about
Something will be
24
wrong.
piglets a year from
Yes,
one sow.
Yes.
Okay.
Born alive.
Okay.
So, but there are mortalities, that is deaths in between. And that's now part of management,
Okay.
which is also very critical. Like when pigs are young, that is the piglets, there are causes of mortality. Like they can be crushed by the mother, they can die from chilling, that is low temperatures
Okay.
from the recommended ideal temperatures. They can suffocate, they can starve. There is a disease called mastitis, metritis agalactia,
Okay.
which causes milk to fail to come out. So that problem will cause starvation in the piglets.
Now, Mr. Candice, as we round off this segment, I want you to touch briefly in 30 seconds in terms of profitability of this venture. I understand that it is an investment which I don't know how you're going to deem it. Is it a long-term investment? Is it a short-term investment? Is it lucrative to the woman out there? I'm especially looking at women as we forge our way towards Vision 2030 as a country. We are empowering women. Is it lucrative, this venture?
Yes, as long as it's planned well and there is this efficiency. We really give emphasis to efficiency of production, because it's not only the number of breeding females one has, it's actually what happens to one breeding female which we have.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Candice. It was a pleasure having you with us in this episode. You may maybe give your final remarks to our audience as we pave way for the third segment.
I can briefly say planning is key. And the Pig Industry Board, we are there to assist you technically so that you run the piggery business well. So you can come for training for this year. I think we still have 3 openings. That is the courses we are going to conduct. And also for smallholder farmers, you can actually tap into this technology of artificial insemination instead of having a bow or even borrowing a bow,
okay.
which is at times risky.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. There you had it, viewers, efficiency in pig production. We'll be right back with this and more in the third and final segment of your program. Stay tuned. Welcome back, viewers. We are in the third and final segment of your program, where I've taken the liberty of being joined by Mr. Tamo Musa. He is the Head Technical and Extension Services located here at Actuarial Research Center, the Pig Industry Board, right here in Zimbabwe. Mr. Musa, thank you for joining us in this third segment.
Thank you, Wadzi.
Yes.
Thank
Now,
you,
earlier on, as I was joined by Mr. Candice, we talked and we discussed the various activities that are encountered during the conception or even the heat stages and the various stages within pig production. Now let us talk about the stages from weaning after birth. You go from weaning and the activities that come hereafter.
Okay, Wadzi, thank you very much. From weaning, you still need to take care of those vulnerable pigs because they are still very small, and you need to give them, the right temperatures, the right environment, and also the right kind of feed. And at this stage, they will be around 16 to 20 kgs, which means they are pretty small and vulnerable. So once you start raising them from that stage, you then continuously monitor their weights so that you check whether you are meeting the targets, because by the 20th week or 21st, 22nd week, they should be reaching the target weight, which is what we call the slaughter weight, which will be around 80 and 90 kgs. So for you to achieve that, you need to give them the right kind of feed. And when they're just weaned, you'll be giving them, some will give them creep. And if you don't have creep, the other companies manufacture it as weaner meal. So you give them weaner meal for the 3 weeks. They will be in the weaner cages. Then after that, they graduate onto the grower diet. And the grower diet, it will take them through from the week 9 up to week 16. That's the grower diet. And from week 16, they will be around 55 to 60 kgs. Live weight. Then from week 16, you then change your diet to finisher diet, which will just take them through to the market weight. So the market weight is any weight that you choose, but it has to be from week 20 and above. And by this stage, by this time, you also give them time to build, the muscle, and also you need, the right fat cover. And the
Okay.
right fat cover will accumulate as they grow. As they reach, this slaughter weight, they will slowly accumulate, fat. So if you have fat, that is between 13 and 15 millimeters, that will be ideal. And you achieve that through administering the right type of feed. And also with pigs, you need to make sure that all the time they have plenty of water, because they take about 10% of their body weight, as drinking water.
Okay.
Besides the water that you need to wash your pans, because you need to keep them clean as well. So the water that they need for drinking is about 10% of their body weight. So you need to have water all the time. All right. When you reach, this slaughter weight, which can be at around 80, why do we choose 80 kgs and above, or 20 weeks and above? It's because when the pigs are growing, they will be growing at a slower pace, but as they grow, they increase, their growth rate,
Okay.
their weight gain per day.
Okay.
So when they reach about week 17, 18, up to week 20, that's when they reach their optimum growth weight, growth gain. So at that stage, you want to capitalize on that and accumulate as much meat as possible within the shortest period. So after that, then you can decide, to slaughter at 80 kgs and above.
Okay.
Right. When you reach that weight, that slaughter weight, you are not only looking at meat, getting money from meat that you get from the pork.
Yes.
You are now looking at all the possible avenues which you can take as a farmer. And one possible avenue is to integrate your piggery project with horticulture, because you will be generating a lot of manure.
Oh,
Which you
okay.
can use in your horticulture field, so that you cut on fertilizer costs. And you will be producing, very good vegetables, because people don't prefer these inorganic fertilizers because they are not good, they are not good health-wise.
Yes.
Right? So that's one avenue that you can do to add value to your product. Then the other avenue is you can also even do fish, because with the waste that we generate from the pigs, you can actually harness that waste and channel it into your fish ponds, and they will be able to then promote development of algae. Algae is the natural fish feed. So that when you have that, it means you will not have a lot of money that you pump into your fishery project, because some of the feed will be generated by the waste that you pump into the fish pond.
Okay, so it's a very sustainable ecosystem where
Yes.
you have your pig project feeding into your horticulture and also feeding into your fishery project.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Now let us talk about the various stages. I understand that in pig production, you can have your porkers, you can have your baconers.
Sure.
Okay, what is it? Can you take us through that?
this classification where you are having porker, baconer, manufacturing pig is normally the language they use when they slaughter the pigs.
Okay.
Because they will be talking about this slaughter weight, and that is the pig. We are talking about the pigs from 50 kgs and above.
Okay.
So when the pig is slaughtered and you achieve a weight of 35 kgs, that is the small porker.
Okay.
And your small porker will be from 35 up to about 45.
Okay.
From about 45 to about 55.
That's a
your
baconer.
medium. It's your medium porker. It's still a porker.
Porker, okay.
Yes, from 55 to about 64 kgs. That's a large porker.
Okay.
Then above that, those are slaughter weights. That's called dressed mass.
Okay.
Yes. So from 64.5 to about 90, then you are talking about, a baconer.
Okay.
Yes, this is where they normally process this bacon from. And then above 90 kgs, cold dressed mass, then you are talking about, manufacturing pigs, those that are used for making sausages and things like that, because the meat will be so hard that you cannot cook it within a reasonable time. So normally we prefer that farmers just process it either into sausages, bourgeois, and things like that.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Thabo Musa. It was a pleasure having you with us. We were in the third segment of our program. Maybe your final remarks to our viewers at home.
With pigs, we encourage farmers to be very efficient. And for them to be very efficient, it means normally people believe that pigs just eat pig concentrate. But you find that pig concentrate can be pig concentrate that is meant for growers.
Oh,
and there is
okay.
pig concentrate meant for breeders, pig concentrate meant for winners, for piglets. So if you channel the right kind of feed to the right class, then that's one way of saving money. Because there is no reason whatsoever to feed, sows with a very high costing diet like, the creep. You'll be wasting your resources. So you need to know which type of feed to feed to which type of pigs.
Thank
and that
you
is
for-
very, 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 very important as far as farmers are concerned.
Thank you so much, Mr. Musa. There you heard it. We had our viewers were joined by Mr. Thabo Musa. We're just talking about the general process and the activities from the winner's stage up to the market. From me, your host Wadzanai Manyore, and the crew behind the scenes, have yourselves a fabulous evening. Thank you for watching.